There we go. All right, cool. There we go. So again, Adam, thank you for attending our strategy kickoff call. I think you're going to find this very informative. We'll identify the opportunities with your current site, which is very exciting. And we'll give you the 30, 60, 90-day roadmap on just a general of what we're focusing on, why we're focusing on it, what the opportunity is, how that sizes up with your competitors, and how we move on beyond that, beyond 60, 90 days going into the year. So the first thing I did is we conduct an audit. Oh, excuse me. First thing we do is conduct an audit, and this audit essentially grabs all of the metadata that's out there related to your site, where it's published, what's rendering, and then we kind of size that up with what your competitors are doing, how they're doing it, and how we can be unique, create with a unique strategy that still attracts relevant searches, that will have a high propensity for them to submit their information or have a propensity to convert to a client.
Okay.
Now, if I can share my screen, there we go. Sorry, my video skills kind of took a turn during the time off. So
no, it's all right.
Like my production skills are a little rusty right now. But again, diving into our current state is what I like to say. This is all of your keywords that are documented. I use a number of tools to kind of scrape this information, and this is what is essentially rendering in the Google search results. Okay. We put a high emphasis on Google because that's 90% of the market. We also look at Bing and Yahoo and some of the tertiary search engines as well. But our primary focus is to optimize and expand the exposure for the Google search results. So again, we got to know where we're at. So that's the first thing is just like a doctor diagnoses you, we got to run some tests, right? So we ran some tests and this is the results. So what this is telling me, you're looking at a spreadsheet with a bunch of numbers and terms. Essentially, these are all the terms that you're currently ranking for within the Google index. You see the query here, followed by our current position, the position history. So this was just run. Sometimes it gives a little funky numbers and stuff on the dates, but I'll always date my keywords, as you see here in the tab, when we ran this current report, which was on the 2nd. So it gives you a real current diagnosis, if you will. So looking at it, I break keywords and PageRank into two components, Adam. The first component is our branded theme. It's important to maintain your top positions, as you see here, in your branded keywords. These are visitors that are doing research on your company. They want to find out more about you. Or they're returning clients and you want them to have the ease of finding you as well. Okay. So that's good. So you're standing very tall when it comes to your branded positions, as you see the name of the company followed by a location and or keyword, but the telltale sign is that your branded term is in the front. Okay, so we call that front loading the branded term. Again, this is not going to help you increase exposure, right? Because they would have to know who you are in order for them to see you. So we like to switch it around a little bit. So this is probably good. We like to see the diving in. What causes this, right? So we look at your title tags, right? So there's a couple components in the search index or search results. You got your title tag here, that's bolded, followed by the URL or domain, and then our meta tag description, right? So this tells the searcher, user, hey, this is the headline, right? Almost this is like your byline or your headline, and then this is descriptive to the page. So it helps the user find what they're looking for faster. So going through your title tags and meta tag descriptions, we have quite a few missing. If they're missing, what Google does is it actually will scrape the content of the page and fit it in there for you because they don't want incomplete results on their on their search results. They feel that's like
Okay.
a poor experience. So what's not bad. You have great content. So that's great opportunity. That's an easy win for us right there. And that's just writing a eloquent, unique meta tag description that fits the content for the page.
Okay.
You still with me?
Yes.
Sorry, my internet was like getting a little choppy there.
Yeah. The audio is getting a little choppy, but I'm picking it up.
Yeah, so meta tag description is very important, and it's important to match the content of the page. That has quality factors, that has a big ranking factor, and so on and so forth. We do that also matching the title tag. So what I'd like to see is a little bit more of our keyword in the front of the title tag, followed by our branding at the end of the title tag, okay? You see that a lot with your competition too. So especially with your location page, we want to mention the service first, followed by the location. That's generally how people would search, okay? And of course, and if they're in that physical area, like San Antonio, let's see, let's just do a quick search, right? Credit review management. Let's do San Antonio, right? Now, people typically probably wouldn't put San Antonio in the San Antonio area, but I do that just to kind of trick out the results on the search. You trick out the geo modifier on the organic results. But as you see, like property management, property managers, real property management. See how, I mean, there's a few that will say San Antonio property management, but there's other factors that base that return. But like I said, what we should do is put that keyword in the front, followed by our location, and then the branding element at the end. And then writing a compelling meta tag description for all of those pages that complement those keywords and that content for that page. That's going to give you the biggest impact when it comes to your title tags and meta tag descriptions. Okay. So hopefully I'm not scaring you. We're not like reinventing the wheel here. We're really just sticking to a common theme. Which is great. You've done a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to making a quality page, having unique content for that page, and then looking at some of the back end, like domain and page authorities, you actually score pretty high. You score very well. So with these adjustments, that's going to complement those efforts that you had before. So we have like an exponential impact. That's really going to put us in front of new visitors that aren't familiar with your brand, but are searching by the specific service that you have to offer within the area. Okay. So yeah, that's really just simple, just getting your pages up to standard, increasing the quality. Right now, that's the lowest hanging fruit. You have a number of pages, which is great. That'll give us a lot to work with, a lot to tag. And then looking at some structural issues that I wanted to bring up, Adam. So I'll load your homepage. And I think you're pretty savvy in the development area. I think maybe you'll be able to do this. If not, I can certainly do it. But just let me know. So beautiful imagery. I love the layout. The nav is very well identified, very easy for everybody to see everything. So that's great. The number is clearly visible, easy to click on. But the one thing is, as we scroll down, we jump right into your contact form, okay? So I've actually worked with a lot of top Googlers through the years. I used to be a huge data aggregator, and we would just have funnels galore, all different ways, all how different presentations. We'd collect millions and millions of pieces of information, trying to offer the minimal amount of content possible, right? So Google loved me when I was on this project, right? But they made a point where it's like, hey, Mike, that's great, but there's something called value added, right? So, Google's like, hey, we make the rules because we want our users and visitors to have a good experience, right? That's how they retain their market share, or their that's why people go to Google, because they can trust the results and they know they're typically going to have an expected and or good experience using that search engine. So that's why they put some of this criteria down. It's like, it's to help you and them at the same time. So this is a great contact form. I have no problems with this. You might want to include a privacy policy down here, just because this is not high level PII, but it is PI, and they don't really care like what you do with the information. Collecting it at this level, they just want you to say explicitly, hey, we're collecting it for this reason, to reach out to you and or to distribute our newsletter, so on and so forth. Real standard privacy policy that just says, and some direction in the deep fine print. If you want to be removed from our list, or you want to be removed from this, please contact us this email address and allow 2 weeks for us to update the database, so on and so forth. So something real simple.
There is a privacy. So you're saying you want the privacy policy linked right with the form?
Yeah, it
because it's at the bottom. It's in the footer.
Yeah, I would just have a link added here, like right beneath the submit button, or adjacent. Yeah, beneath the submit button can work. If it's outside of that widget, you can put it right underneath solve 27 minus 12. The CAPTCHA. And the only reason why I say that is that when Google has to dig for that type of stuff, sometimes they assume you don't have it. So we want to be very clear and transparent. There's nothing wrong with collecting email, phone numbers, zip codes, and having a comment section. That's perfectly normal and acceptable. But again, with this day and age in terms of information, and they used to let you collect a pretty high level of PII before they even asked for a privacy policy or a disclaimer or anything like that. So it's just going to help build additional trustworthiness with Google. And you already have it, so we just need to simply link it right into this widget or around it so they can find it easy. The next part is I want to move this contact form down. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that strategy, but I can tell you what works. And like I said, going back to that value added, we want to give them a little value first. So this is great content. Why choose? Gives you all the reasons why you should choose your company, differentiates you from everyone else. And then we could simply put it in between, this next set of content and this command to view more. I think that's going to be a little bit more appropriate. You'll see a little bit more of an engagement. Like I said, I went to Google conference a number of years ago, and I ran into a really famous Googler who wrote like 3 best-selling books. And he was all over me. He's like, Mike, you love funnels. You love all these like 27-step funnels that collect all this fragmented information. I'm like, yes, and it works, and it's awesome. And he's like, well, it's kind of like going to a singles bar and you have a mattress on your back. And I'm like, ooh, that's a very, very clear example. I'm like, I can't believe this guy said that, but he's right. He's like, you got to buy him a drink first, Mike. You can't just come in there and be like, here's the mattress. Let's get to it, So, and he's right. He's like, offer them something before you ask them something. That always bodes well. Oh, it was hysterical. And it was in a room full of like, some of the best SEO people in the world. And he's like, you're like at a singles bar with a mattress, Mike. And I'm like, and it made sense. It made sense because it's like.
It makes a lot of sense. And, we put that there because there's one at the top and one at the bottom. And I originally, in the initial design of this, of the site, a year and a half ago, we only had the one at the bottom because I don't like them at the top. But everybody kept telling me, no, you need one at the top too. You've got to have one at the top, and it's got to be at the very top. I'm like, oh, shit.
Now, I have seen things where we link like, hey, to contact us, we'll put like a direct contact link at the top, and then that just either jumps to the footer or jumps to the contact page, which would be essentially the same thing. I've seen that work. But when it's like the contact's like right here, it's like you do a great job and drag people in with this great image and these images that render, and then it's great color choices, and then it's like, boom, give me your information, right? So just add a little, just a little restructuring, right? So you just draw, think of like a newspaper. You draw the reader in, and then you ask for something from them, right? Because they're looking for you initially. They're looking for your service. So let's talk about why you're going to deal with us, right? That's perfect. And then, hey, you want to hear more? Great. Either dive through the content, look for something more specific, which they can do. It's very clear. Or they could say, hey, I've heard enough. Give me a call. Adam, tell me how you can help me with my, 10 or 15 properties that I can't stand mowing the lawn.
Exactly.
Right? So that's the name of the game. So yeah, so that's the first 30 to going into month 2, arranging all of your title tags, meta tag descriptions, and again, going through the content, making sure that matches. And we also have proper delineation on our contextual elements, like our H1 tags down to our H2s and 3s, making sure that's all structured accordingly. Simultaneously triggering the crawler, refetching to get better indexing while maintaining those high-level branded positions. So
okay, so you guys are taking care of that side of it, and you need me to modify the site to add the privacy policy to the contact form, and then swap the those 2 blocks right there.
I would just move this one up and then move that one right down, and that will have definitely an impact in the overall quality. And we'll also see a little bit more time on page, because essentially the theory is they got to dive through this content first before they get to the contact form. And then sometimes I see if people are turned off from this, they'll bounce right away. They're like, oh, whatever, just someone collecting information. See ya. Right.
Exactly. Okay.
This is a very data aggregation thing to do. So then the question is, like, do you actually do the property management? Are you just collecting information to sell my information to other property managers, right? So we want to be clear on that your company is the point of contact, and your company is the one that's going to be contacting them. So,
okay,
cool. So that, like I said, that is the first 30 days. Also, we'll be developing reporting, which you'll by the 5th of February. We reserve like 5 business days in the first of the month. Again, we'll have our keywords, our page rank, something we call our top 5 keywords. So these are all of your, as you saw in our spreadsheet here, we document all of our top 5 keyword ranking positions and the estimated traffic for the month. We also look at sessions, and of course, we look at conversions. So looking at your site, you have a number of conversion points, but I take it that the majority of them that we're going to be focused on is just the contact us forms, right? And maybe some of the rental submissions. So the rental submissions, I just wanted to ask real quick, those are renters interested in the properties that you have for rent, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I figured that, because I kind of went through the database, just kind of spot checking it for, usually I see like, hey, this is XYZ SEO company, we're just reaching out to you, that's not a relevant lead, right? So
no, it's not.
Right.
And so our contact form, it does email me, but it also is doing I think it's either a blind copy or a carbon copy to a parsing email address for our CRM, and it's being imported into there. And so, yeah, I see probably a third, maybe a little less, 20% to a third of our submissions are, most of them are SEO.
Yeah.
And occasionally somebody fills one out and, hey, we want to be a vendor for you guys. I do have a tag for that in our CRM, so we can at least keep that record, but it doesn't count towards any of the numbers that we look at in that system. But okay.
I mean, I did see a couple of relevant ones where they're like, hey, I have a house here, and I was thinking about, let me know. So there are some relevant submissions, but like I said, the goal is to increase that more so than, increasing the overall traffic. I really like to focus on getting more conversions and relevancy. And like I said, with these changes and just kind of focusing on, some of those keywords with those little page modifications, we should definitely see that you will be increasing the reach because we already have this baseline traffic established from your branded position. So, and again, these strategies won't take away from that. So again, we'll start building off of that. So we'll be increasing the reach, focusing on relevancy. So the logic there, it will have a high propensity to convert.
Okay.
Okay, so then after day 60, and again, we'll be doing like citation monitoring. We'll look at your citations and all of that information on the tertiary, on directory networks and all that. So we do audit that once we kick off and cleaning any of that information up that's irrelevant or inaccurate.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I looked at your sitemap. And sitemap's important. The crawler likes a really easy way, like a roadmap to your site. It doesn't look like you have all the pages on here. So I can rebuild this for you. I'm not sure if you want to do that, but I could rebuild your sitemap and publish that. You just want to make sure that you have all the published pages within your sitemap. So I only see 12 pages. It's not a big deal, but again, we want to make sure that this gets updated. We have all of your pages and posts on there so that when we do trigger the crawler, if they do a site-wide crawl, they have a clear roadmap of what is your content, what your page navigations are.
Okay. I know there was a sitemap generator plugin somewhere.
That's what this looks like. It's like I said, yep, right here, running on WordPress. So I could fiddle with that and see if I could just rerun the crawl with this app and see if we can get all the pages on there. So I just wanted to identify that as something that we're going to be updating. And then the last component, with our reporting and all that going into day 60 and beyond, we'll be developing something called structured data and schema. So a couple of years ago, this is real rudimentary, very simplistic and basic. What structured data does is it's not something the user sees unless you're looking at like the source code of the page. But the crawler picks this up and it just helps Google better understand what it is that you do. And because content can be interpreted many different ways. And a computer is very matter of fact, right?
Yes.
So case in point, like years ago, the big thing was, Tom Cruise and people wanting to take a cruise and differentiating that search, really like two different things completely, but that would get mished and mashed, and it was like, okay, how do we design a crawler? How do we design, how do we command our results so that the computer understands the difference between Tom Cruise, the actor, and a cruise ship, right? So it's kind of a very basic example, but to this day, the computer has a hard time figuring out, in all its wisdom and power and AI, computers still have trouble figuring out, matter of fact, and, they don't understand sarcasm.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's things that are designed to help the search engine and Google understand what your content is and how to who your audience is. So we'll be developing that. That's customized. I like to develop that for all your main pages. We start with the main services that you focus on and then go through. And again, that has areas served, so we can add in locations. We can add in a specific audience type. So that's going to help us refine that reach that we're going to be attaining once we redo our title tags and add our meta tag descriptions and refetch the site from that point. So
Okay.
a little bit of fine tuning, and that has opportunities too, because we're telling Google exactly what your direct audience is going to be. So I see tremendous engagement increases once we do that, and the conversion rates typically go up quite a bit. So that's essentially our 30, 60 going into our 90-day plan. And then beyond, like I said, beyond the 60-day point, what we like to do is really focus on continuing building that domain authority and that page authority. That's going to give you that sustainability within the rankings. So once we attain a higher reach, that will help us maintain those positions. We aim for positions 1 through 3. That's the majority of where the clicks are going to occur on page 1. So, yep. And then, like I said, during that, we'll meet a couple times a month. But at least for February in the beginning, we'll present a reporting. I do a video just like this. It's kind of one-sided where you just be viewing my screen. We'll be going through all your reports, and then of which you'll also have access to on the Google Drive in our shared documents. So
okay.
Yeah, I know we went through quite a bit. Do you have any questions, Adam, or anything to add, or?
No, I think I'm good right now.
Okay, good. And again, we'll start these changes right away. As of as soon as I get off the phone with you. So the sooner the better. And like I said, it'll start with your main services that you want to emphasize from your project planner. And then, like I said, I plan on going through all your pages and doing this because it's really needs to be done just as a baseline, just a quality refresher, if you will. So we'll get all that up to speed. And then looking at, well into the long term, we can work together in developing content that's going to have, some keyword research behind it. That's going to really help you further expand the reach and increase your position within the industry as an authoritative figure. So, yeah,
that sounds great. I will reach out to my programmer this afternoon and try and get a couple of these changes that you wanted us to do on her radar, so that hopefully we can get it done by the end of the week.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Shoot, I keep thinking this is Tuesday.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
Maybe over the weekend.
Yeah. Okay. If not, let me know. And if they have any trouble, I'm sure our team can move a widget down and up, and we could just bill it out of the SEO hours. It's quite all right. So just let me know what everyone's.
It shouldn't be a problem. It's the same person that actually did the site implementation for me. She's the one that took our design and turned it into a functioning website. So
it's a great site, and you get great trustworthy scores. And like I said, when I see that and I see just some fundamental SEO things that just need to be adjusted and added, I typically see a pretty good impact from that. It's just a little bit of refinement at this point from the structural standpoint. So,
okay, no, that's great. That's always been a big focus of ours, is quality content. We don't want it to be just a fluff piece, just so that we have something up there. We have a web presence. We want it to actually be somewhere that people can turn and learn about the industry, and feel comfortable in, handing us their $200,000 asset. Right.
It's value added and builds trust. So you
exactly
can't go wrong there. That's the way to do it. But yeah, and then we effectively backlink that content, which again, it helps us expand the reach, relevant reach, and can help us expand in other areas. So, but really the focus is to get you some ranking in San Antonio other than your branded keywords, while maintaining that branded position. and like that's going to have a great impact, I think, right off the bat. So,
Okay.
yep. And in the interim, if you have any questions or something comes up, you know, I work for you. So, you know, my success is dependent on your success. So, you know, that's what I love about Thrive. We put each other in parallel. So, and
Well, and that's how we do business too. So
yeah,
I respect that.
yeah. So don't feel any, you know, hesitation to reach out to me, whether it's over the weekend or, you know, keep in mind I might not get to you till Monday, but you're, you know, feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Understood. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, Adam, I'm excited. I can't wait to kick off some of these changes. And if there's anything I need from you, I'll, you know, I'll email you and your team. I think we're all good with analytics. I got them all set up. I got you in the Search Console. Everything's been linked. So it's been pretty smooth with regards to that. So I appreciate that. It's been really nice. So
glad I could be organized in advance for you guys for all that stuff.
Me too.
Y'all all seemed a little surprised on the last call when that everything was there.
You know, that's one the first, I think, that a company owner has had everything already in place before we had the kickoff call. So that was, and that's understandable. I mean, you know, not every owner is really in touch on the digital side as you are, Adam, and you know, they hey, I need that login. You know, they don't know.
Exactly.
It's not their fault. They're running the operation aspect of it, so it's like, you know, it's hard to have all those details at the ready. But very impressive, Adam, I must say.
Well, thank you. I'm the way I see it, if I can help you guys make this as smooth as possible, it makes y'all's job easier, and hopefully we'll see the enhancements faster. So
yeah, I mean, my goal is to get that email running correctly and relevant, and the phone ringing, and it's all centered around what you do. So rather than people contacting you, try to sell something. So, you know.
Okay.
All right. Well,
thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the